It it did not matter about it going viral.
One set of eyes matters, really. I'm Queen City News Chief Business Correspondent Taylor Young, and you are watching Side Hustle, a show completely dedicated to learning about all the interesting ways that people are making extra money on the side and how sometimes they can turn into full-blown careers. And today, we are welcoming Meredith Dean. Meredith, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I'm going to start with by saying you are a very popular woman in Charlotte. I feel like everyone knows you. You were recently named Charlotte's top 10 most powerful leaders. Who are you?
Thank you. That's so sweet. First off, I'm a community builder and I love humans. I love hearing their stories. I was a former journalist myself. So being able to give a mic to marginalized people, to give a voice. And I try to do intros now by talking about like who I am versus what I do. But I love human beings. I love encouraging others. I like being a cheerleader for other people and to help others achieve their dreams. But for what I do, I own the Dean's List, which is a digital branding and career consulting company that's focused on building offline and online community.
Yeah, and talk about that because I know a lot about what you do involves social media. So first off, kind of explain how you got into social media and did journalism kind of push you towards that, considering a lot of being a journalist is posting on social media?
1000%. What I loved about social media is that you're able to tell your own stories, the stories that you choose, and then also kind of focus on doing it in a really creative way that's in your own format. And social media is touching people all over the world, which I just found was incredible that I was able to reach people through an untraditional sense. And so it's been really exciting to see what companies I've been able to work with through social media, people I couldn't have worked with otherwise. And now a lot of people are doing even TikTok resumes. So you can stand out and touch companies that you could have never reached out to before. Even on LinkedIn, you can reach out to the CEO of a company, which is incredible. So social media has allowed us to connect to people.
And talk us through how you kind of got to where you are today. For viewers that have not seen your social media or know of Dean's List, I mean, you have thousands and thousands of followers. Your videos get millions of views. Like, where do you start in this industry?
Yeah. So I started creating my digital brand, my personal brand, meredithdean.com. Back when I went to University of Georgia and I did the new media certificate. So I loved coding. I was really excited to be able to build mobile apps. And so I'm a big time nerd, love video games like you do. And I think that it started with loving coding when I was younger and those video games. And then getting into journalism and being able to tell people stories in a succinct way, a creative way. It all just kind of made sense there. But the digital and broadcast journalism major, I interned for Fox 5 in Atlanta for the investigative team, ended up also working in France. I was an American liaison. So I wasn't allowed to speak English in the house with my boss's mother is where I actually lived in Tours, so it's the west of France. And then I had another internship with CNN International News Source. And that was extraordinary at the Atlanta headquarters.
Done everything.
No, and I have so much to learn, a lot to learn. But I was able to work with journalists from all over the world and hearing about their ethics in journalism and hearing their stories. And so I was able to touch that global perspective. Then I ended up working for Deborah Norville, who actually recently just left Inside Edition as one of the longest running female syndicated anchors. And that was an incredible experience because she went to Georgia and she's from Dalton. So that was amazing being able to work for her at CBS in New York. And then I heard about this job with Ryan Seacrest in Charlotte, North Carolina. So I ran his radio and TV station that's designed to uplift pediatric patients at Levine Children's Hospital. So I worked there for 7 years. But all the while, when I was in New York, I built the Dean's List because I was building all these websites for students to get their dream jobs. So mine was meredithdean.com. And I thought, okay, if I'm getting all my dream jobs because of this website where they felt like they knew me before I walked into the room. So for Fox 5, they looked at, when I had applied, they had said, well, we're only looking for juniors and seniors and you're only a freshman in college. They ended up waiving the age requirement because that portfolio showed the things I had done, and they realized, hey, she's done more than, maybe what we were looking for as a senior. So that was really exciting there. And then Deborah felt like she knew me through my Instagram and through my website. I didn't even have an in-person interview. It was through my digital brand. So I figured, okay, this is working for me. Let me help other people get their dream jobs. And then I also wanted to help my family's nonprofit. So we build girls' schools, wells, and clinics in Western Kenya. My dad lived in Kenya for a long time. He's an entrepreneur himself. he got malaria and typhoid, got really sick, and he had to come back to the U.S. because there was not enough good health care back then. And he actually went to Davidson in North Carolina. So I'm telling you this very long-winded story to explain it's all connected to building your brand over time.
Yeah.
And you can get yourself into rooms because, people are meeting each other digitally now before they meet each other in person. You think in dating, when it comes to jobs, people are Googling you before you walk in the door for your interview. So how can you shine online, but then also make the offline impact?
Yeah, and we were just showing some of your content. We'll pull it up again. I mean, this is just your Instagram here. Talk about what you choose to post. I know you kind of have a blue theme going on. I love that. So talk about what you post and how you decide on what kind of your niche is.
So a lot of people, a lot of social media coaches have said niche down. I actually disagree because I think we are multi-passionate, multi-dimensional humans. And if you look at my feed, we have Charlotte content. We have, even talking about the skyline lights, their color meanings up there. And I have a thing to do every single day in Charlotte for free on that calendar right next to that. And then, other days I'm just talking about my life. I mean, I just became an aunt. My brother just had his baby. So a lot of personal stuff in there. But the whole idea is how do I educate, uplift, and empower other people? And luckily, I'm able to choose my own stories. So whatever I feel like is going to empower other people, but also whatever speaks to me. And of course, my grandparents are the loves of my life. So I post about them a good amount.
And speaking of them, we want to play a clip that has millions of views, really. So of course, our viewers take a listen.
Excited to go on your first Uber, Ray?
Huh?
Excited to go to your first Uber?
Yeah.
I know, this is funny. But it makes me nervous doing new things.
Yeah.
Doesn't it you?
No.
Hi, Tim.
Hey, Tim, can my husband sit up with
Oh,
you?
absolutely.
Tim, this is my first Uber. I've been very nervous. My granddaughter told me how to do this.
Oh.
Well, I just think this is like having your own limousine.
Here in Ashford. So we've been here now 46 years. Wow. And you're a chemical engineer?
Well, what'd you guys think of your Uber experience?
Thank you so much.
My pleasure, sir. You. Likewise.
So adorable. So tell me about, not only is this video, of course, of your grandparents, but it was also kind of a really big stepping stone in your career.
Huge. So I had talked to you about how I was building Dean's List on the side. So I always had my 9 to 5 in journalism. Then I had my 5 to 9 with Dean's List. And this was 2 years ago when I went full time with Dean's List. It's scary when you decide to finally go full time with a company. And this was my very first paid partnership when I was crying my eyes out because Marty and Ray actually have already passed. So I was missing her a whole lot. And sorry if I end up getting emotional here, but I ended up posting this video and it was crazy, but it went wild. And Uber reached out and they ended up saying, we're going to do a paid partnership with you. And I think it was her definitely looking out for me when I first went full time with my company.
And what kind of, if you don't mind me asking, like the monetary, I mean, how much can a post like this make?
So there's a lot of different ways that posts can make money, right? So for mine, it was just a natural thing that I went to go post, and I added Uber as a collaborator. And I wanted to see if that could get their attention. It's, of course, the sweetest, most wholesome video. They loved it. They knew it was going to be great for their brand. So they had said they wanted to go ahead and just repost it. But because I knew that these brands need to pay, right, for that kind of content, I negotiated with them. So, maybe I could have made more money because we didn't know how viral this would have gone, but it was still wonderful, that they were like, no problem, absolutely. And they gave me more than what I had asked for. So
do you think that there are other creators out there that maybe would have just said, you can just share this because maybe it'll get my name or my handle out there, when really they could be missing out on making money?
Taylor, I'm really glad you mentioned that because it is a female-driven industry. A lot of times people are not paid. And because they don't even know how to negotiate or how to ask. And that's why I'm a social media coach, to also help mostly female-owned, minority-owned businesses with negotiating these things. Because sometimes we just don't know how to ask, or even what are posts like these worth? What are people making depending on if you're a micro-influencer, if you're a macro-influencer? And then also understanding how to build a media kit. So you are very legitimate when you're reaching out to these brands. So, and the other thing is, you look at TikTok. TikTok is paying also, and YouTube, based on the amount of views. So with the creator program that they have as well, depending on how many views you get, that's how much money you make. But for certain videos that are not over a minute long, you can't make money on those.
Well,
on
there's kind of
TikTok.
a science behind all
There
this.
is 1,000%.
And I'm sure it's different on every platform that you're on.
Correct.
Okay. Well, on that note, we are going to take a very quick break, and we'll be right back. I think this topic is interesting because everyone and their grandparents, their parents, everyone has social media nowadays. And we were talking about the term influencer and how it might make people feel like out of reach for them because maybe they don't have enough followers, but kind of debunk that a little bit.
So I think that everyone is an influencer, right? If you've ever recommended a product to a family member, you ever told your friend, hey, I really want to go there this weekend in Charlotte, you have the ability to influence, right? So I say that social media is like a power tool. You can either saw your arm off or you can build a house, and we want to build a house and we want to use it for the most positive ways possible. So I'm trying to change the narrative on social media because it also can be really bad for people's mental health. So I have tried to not use the term influencer even for myself because I like to call myself a content creator because this is my form of digital art. I mean, I love it. It's my personal diary. And I think that all of my friends have the ability to influence no matter how many followers you have. And for example, I also love to change people's idea of a post doing well or the amount of likes it gets. It does not matter what the number is. It's the quality of those followers and the quality of the amount of likes. So for example, one of my social media management clients, I worked really hard on this post. I was obsessed with it. I was like, this thing is going to go viral. It's incredible. Post it. How many likes do you think it got?
Maybe 10?
You got it. It got 10
Really?
likes. I was so sad. One of those likes, though, was a $15,000 client for her.
Wow.
It did not matter about it going viral.
Set of eyes matters, really.
Correct. And then the other thing is thinking about, some people go, oh, my post only got 100 likes. We could not fit 100 people in this room. Try to think about one like as one person. Think how long it takes to get a 25-person workshop together or to even advertise something in front of all those people. 500 likes is crazy. 90,000 likes, that's the entire Sanford Stadium at University of Georgia. I mean, the way that social media can reach people, and if we use it in a positive way, and we talk about, happy things and things that are changing people's lives, it's incredible. People's lives are changing overnight. So that was a very long-winded way of saying that I think everyone has the ability to be an influencer because we all have phones. Mm-hmm. And we all have ways of connecting with people in real life and offline. It's just, maybe you just need a little bit of coaching on how to do that.
On how to do it, yeah. And you mentioned mental health. We know with social media, there could be some drawbacks or impacts to mental health, whether that's, body image or feeling a lot broker than a lot of your friends. I mean, as someone who is on social media a lot, have you personally ever kind of dealt with any of that? Or how do you deal with it?
Oh, girl. Yes, 1,000%. So I like to also tell people, create more than you consume. Be a creator, not a consumer, if you can help it. We all have the tendency as human beings to kind of doom scroll and you can sit there forever. The more I create and put love and light into the world, the better that I feel if I'm helping other people through my content. So I don't sit and doom scroll at all. I favorite my friends. I go see what they're doing, but anyone else because no one does what I do the way I do it. No one does you the way that you do it. And it's a beautiful thing. We all have so many things we can bring to the world and there's enough room for everyone. I deeply believe that.
And does that mean not reading the comments? Because I feel like the comment section on any post can be like a war.
Yes. That's what a lot of my clients do is they do not read the comments at all. Another thing is like, we just need to put time limits. You can put time limits on all of your different social media apps or even on your computer. So you just go into the settings and you can say how long you want to be on there because it's also a time suck. So also you need to be outside. I'm doing also this 88 days of intentional living challenge where you need to get 30 minutes outside, 30 minutes inside of exercise, but also grounding myself has been really important. Taking off my shoes and socks, putting my feet into the earth. It's, actually having that frequency is really important for us. But telling you about mental health myself, it's so important because, I mean, I've been heavily cyberbullied, and it's why it's so important to talk about it and make sure that people know, especially for a lot of my Netflix clients, the ones that have gone on Love is Blind. I mean, people will be horrible and they don't know them at all. And that makes me really sad. And for me, when I posted, so I went to the Women's March. This was about 7 years ago in Charlotte. And I had a sign that I created. Everyone has signs, right? I'm carrying it around the streets of Charlotte. And if you know what Barstool Sports is, it is a huge brand, a very, in my opinion, misogynistic brand. But it says Saturdays are for the boys. That's their flag, their insignia. I added one line that said to respect women. That's it. Saturdays are for the boys to respect women. And I put my handle on there in case anyone wanted to connect. They pick it up. It goes viral. I have thousands of men sending me messages that I'm fat, I'm ugly, I should have been aborted 24 years ago, stay in the kitchen where I belong, no one's ever going to like you, always the bridesmaid, never a bride. I mean, it goes on and on and on. Luckily, I have some of the best male role models in my life. I love my dad, my brother. I've had great relationships, and I'm a pretty confident person. I think about the people that aren't very confident with where they are right now and how that could have affected a younger girl.
Yeah.
And a lot of people end up taking their own lives because of that. And so for me, going against that cyberbullying and creating a supportive community. I have a group of girls here in Charlotte that are my everything, and the majority of them are all content creators. We also just have our own kind of tribe where we'll be like, hey, did you see that? Like, that's ridiculous. Can you go and support? Go flood it with positive comments, and everyone comes to each other's aid. And so with that Barstool Sports post that went viral, I then had thousands of women come from across the country and then across the world that came to support my profile. And I'm like, hey, thanks. This worked out. And that's how I first started building.
So you have to have thick skin, of course, to do this, but just the reach. I mean, do you ever get kind of overwhelmed just with how many people you are reaching? And then the responsibility of that, of course, you're working with clients as well. I mean, talk about the pressure of that.
So I'm a smaller creator. I'm considered not even a macro influencer because I have under 100,000 followers. So that's something else to keep in mind. If you're a micro influencer, normally it's less than 10,000, and then a nano influencer is less than 1,000. And the other thing is it's based on your engagement rate. So, someone might have 100,000 followers, but they might have paid for some of those.
Some of them. Yeah.
And the other thing is seeing, have they really built true community? So I view influencers in my space, especially my group of girls, they might have less than 1,000 followers, but they're working in community relations for the Panthers. They have connections with every nonprofit. They're working with the mayor. It's not about the number. It's about how are you actually affecting people. So you can see in the comments what people's actual engagement is. Are you actually loved, or is it like, you can kind of tell what's fake and what's not. So
interesting. Well, on that note, we are going to take one more break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Side Hustle. We are talking content creation, and let's dive into the perks of content creation, because there's a lot out there. Scrolling through your social media, I mean, you are traveling all over the world, really.
Oh, well, thanks. It's taken a long time to build it, right? I mean, it's day after day. You have to be consistent about it. It's almost like working out every day. I make this a part of my routine. So yeah, I'm so grateful that with my platform, I'm able to promote Airbnbs all over the world. So I'll have an Airbnb or a hotel reach out. I've worked with the W Hotel in Costa Rica. So promoting their properties and letting people see it from a user-generated perspective, and also, like a real person's perspective. I worked with Embassy Suites in Asheville. And then I worked with this one Airbnb that has peacocks everywhere in Northern Ireland. That was so cool. It's one of my favorites that I've been to. But also now I have a portion of my company called Dean's List Destinations. So I take 15 people who are open-minded, culturally conscious, and just love connecting authentically with humans. I've taken several groups now. Our first trip was to Bali with one of our very own here at Queen City News, Will Lewis, came with us, and one of my clients. He is the best. And then the trip after that was Morocco. And then we'll be going to Thailand for New Year's. And then also we'll be going to Kenya with my family's nonprofit Habitat Aid Initiative in May, end of May next year. But the idea is to have life-changing moments from these trips. Now, the really cool thing is that with Trova Trip, that's the company that helps with coordinating everything, and it's the payment platform, all of that. Anyone can do this if you have a group that you want to bring and you have an email list. So, if anyone wants to reach out to me and figure out how they can travel and get paid to do it, I'm happy to help you, and I'll send you a link. But as long as you have, up to, I think it's 8 people, then you're able to go on that trip and get paid to do it wherever you want in the world.
When you go on trips like this or stay in a hotel in Asheville, what do you have to do in order to kind of meet the standard of that trip? Like, what kind of do you have to post for them? Walk us through that.
So I'll explain. So the W Hotel in Costa Rica was through a marketing agency that I love. They're just wonderful people. And I built that real life in-person relationship when they had come to Charlotte, and they were just looking for people who are well connected in the community. And I connected them to other people. So it starts from real life interactions and networking with people. So they invited me to come on this brand trip. I was the smallest creator. I mean, it's 100,000 plus mostly, but they know the quality of content that I put out, and also the vibes that I'm bringing. I love connecting with wonderful humans. So, I was one of the only ones from Charlotte. So that was really cool too. And then they brought in Costa Rican influencers. So for that one, we didn't get paid, but they did pay for the flight. They paid for, of course, the stay, the luxury stay, any of our excursions that we did. Show Me Your Moo was a part of it. So that was really cool that we were given clothes from them. So that was an example of an influencer brand trip. So you're not paid for that, right? Then same thing. That was the same company for the Embassy Suites in Asheville. They knew the quality of content there. They knew my connection with my grandparents and with my mom. And so in the Grove Park Arcade there that my grandfather had been on the board for way back in the day. So those connections there, I wanted to do that because I love that for that connection. That for Burn Moore's Nest, the one in Ireland that I told you about, that Airbnb, that was an exchange for the stay. So I wasn't paid for it. It was an exchange. So that's something to keep in mind. Are you getting paid, or is it an exchange, and is that worth it? And what are the posting requirements? Do you need to post a carousel? Do you need to post a reel?
What do you think the ratio of getting paid versus getting an experience out of it is?
When you first start, it's almost always exchange. Now I know what my worth is, so it's mostly paid.
So you could see how at first this could be a good side hustle, maybe just to be able to travel for free, or being able
absolutely,
to experience without having to pay money for it.
Exactly.
So I think a big reason why people might be watching our show Side Hustles is maybe they want to get inspired or kind of dive into a new way of making money. If someone is watching this, they are, of course, are on social media. What is kind of the first step or advice that you would give them to kind of feel it out?
Just post every single day. And if you can post 3 times a day, way to go. Think of a story. People do stories, the 24-hour stories on Instagram. Make those reels. Make those TikToks. Stop posting for just 24 hours. Put it on the grid. And really, you have to have this mindset of like, who knows? Just post it for the plot. Let's see what happens, And if you're putting something out that is inspiring, it's educating, it's empowering, and it's kind, you cannot go wrong. And who cares if you're quote cringe?
I was just going to say that.
Keep doing it. I mean, there's even stories that are here from Queen City News specifically of people that were posting on social media, and now they're some of the biggest influencers out there. And all it takes is just starting. And the other thing is not being afraid to talk to the camera. That's something that I'm working on myself right now. It's so funny. Like I could talk to you, talk to Austin in here, talk to anyone in person.
When you're looking in a
This is hard, like to talk to no one on the other side. So you have to imagine that other person. So part of that 88 days of intentional living, I'm talking to the camera every single day. And that's something that has helped me with my confidence a little bit, and also trying to be more succinct in my message. But if you can talk to the camera and give some kind of piece of advice that's going to help someone else, and you got your niche, I say you don't have to niche down, but if you have something specific that you are an expert in, and all you need to know is like 10% more than the average person.
Do you think it's better to at least start with a niche?
I would, if I started over and I started tomorrow, yes, one niche specifically. especially I'm thinking more for TikTok. If you have one niche and you become that go-to person, you're posting every day, 3 times a day. I'm talking just one piece of advice, post that. Then you're going to do another TikTok. Second piece of advice, post that. But you have to remember to introduce yourself every time because it's new eyes that are coming toward. It's not the people that are following you, it's new eyes. And then you also have you have to have a call to action. So a lot of people forget, why am I posting in the first place? Do you want them to come join your trip? Do you want them to join your email list? Do you want them to become a client? Where are you sending them to for that ROI? So you can't just, you don't want to just give the piece of afterwards. So there's a little specific formula for it. And if you go by it and say people who want to get into the news industry. So you start tomorrow, you start posting on your TikTok and you're helping thousands of students who want to get into the news industry. You become that go-to. You tell them exactly who you are. You're Taylor Young, your chief business correspondent here. This is your podcast. And if you want to, follow more, make sure to reach out to me. You do that every day, 3 times a day. I swear to you, you will have at least 10,000 followers more by the next 2 months, probably.
Wow. Well, we've covered a lot here.
We have.
Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.
Well, you've been watching Side Hustle. We'll see you next time.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.